Hi, folks. It's Laura Chappell, and this came up as a surprise today. I suddenly got an email from someone saying, "Ads in Wireshark? How do I stop them?" What? All right, so I had to stop what I was doing and do the update to the new version of Wireshark, which is 4.6.5. Today is April 30th, 2026. And sure enough, when I opened it up, there were ads there. Now, in the release notes, it says that this feature can be turned off by the settings dialog. So in Wireshark, you can see the ads will show up on the right-hand side. They'll cycle through every 8 seconds by default. I thought I'd go over to Edit Preferences to see how could I turn this off. I went through every one of the preference settings that it could possibly be in, and it is nowhere in here. So I did a little more digging and found the way to disable this. Around the same time, I got a text from somebody asking me about this new ad set that's coming in Wireshark and asking, are these ads being fed across my network and how do I stop that? So I'm going to show you how to configure this banner over on the right-hand side to remove the ads. And then I'm also going to show you where the content sits. It doesn't come across your network. It's actually compiled into Wireshark. So let's go take a look at the code. So I'm over on GitHub and I'm looking at the Wireshark code. And when you come into the code and take a look at it here, the first thing you can do is you can go under the UI folder and then under the Qt folder. And in here, there is all of the code dealing with the welcome page. And you'll see a reference to the info banner carousel. So this is where the code is to make this work. But the content sits in a different spot. So if I go back to the main folder here, and we go down to the resources folder, then we go under the JSON folder, this is where you will see the content that is compiled in with Wireshark. So it's not going out and polling and getting new ads all the time in the background across your network. These advertisements are actually compiled into Wireshark. The next time you'll get new ads are going to be when you download a new version of Wireshark. And hopefully that's not going to drive the release dates on Wireshark. I would hate to see that. Before I move on, let me just say that in this JSON folder, you'll see a banners folder, and I don't want to give it away, but there's a couple of interesting images there for sharks being sharks and sharks celebrating sharks for Wireshark's birthday and April Fool's Day. So let me show you how you can configure that banner on the right-hand side of the welcome page and get rid of ads. So we know we can't just do this by going into Edit Preferences. So what we need to do is we need to go to Help, and then About Wireshark. And we're going to go to the Folders tab, and you want to open up the Personal Configuration folder. This is where the recent_common file sits. Now don't just open that file up. You need to make sure that you close Wireshark in the background, because when we go make these edits, if you leave Wireshark up and running with the advertisements active, it will win out and it will keep it active, even though you just edited the file to say it should be inactive. Last one out wins here. So I'm going to close Wireshark in the background. And I'm going to open up this recent common file. I'm just going to open it up in Notepad++. And you can see it just jumped to this spot because I was looking at this just a moment ago. You could do a search for the word welcome. You could look for the word sidebar. That would take you right down to this section. And these are all of the elements that you can control using this configuration file. So I want to turn them all off. I want everything off. Here's another thing you can do. You can change the interval of how it auto advances to the next item, but I don't care about that because I'm disabling everything there. At this point, I'm going to save this file. I just did a Control S to save the file. I'll close this down, and now I'm going to open up Wireshark again. And voila, Wireshark is opened up, and I don't have any advertisements anymore. So, just to recap, you don't have to worry about these ads being fed across your network, at least not at this time, and I can't imagine that the Wireshark group would do such a thing. But I also didn't think I'd have ads on the main Wireshark page either. And hopefully they will figure out how to make it so that this is easy to configure in the graphical interface, because it's not in a settings dialog as far as I can see. At least not at this time. Bam!